What happens if one missile strike turns into a regional war? What if the long-running shadow conflict between Iran and Israel finally erupts into something the Middle East has never seen before? Could one miscalculation drag in Hezbollah, the United States, and the Gulf states within days? And the biggest question of all, is a regional war now inevitable, or is there still a narrow path to de-escalation? For decades, Iran and Israel have fought a quiet war in the shadows. Cyber attacks, intelligence operations, assassinations, proxy battles in Syria and Lebanon, all carefully calibrated to avoid direct confrontation. But in recent months, that shadow war has stepped into the light. Direct strikes, open threats, missile exchanges that are no longer deniable. The rules that once kept this conflict contained are eroding, and the margin for error is shrinking fast. To understand whether a regional war is inevitable, we first need to understand the roots of this rivalry. Since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, Tehran's leadership has positioned Israel not just as a rival, but as an ideological enemy. Israel, in turn, sees Iran's nuclear ambitions and expanding missile capabilities as an existential threat. Over time, Iran built a network of allies and armed groups across the region: Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq and Syria, and support networks reaching as far as Yemen. This axis of resistance, as Iran calls it, was designed to surround Israel strategically without triggering a direct state-to-state war. For years, that strategy worked. Tensions flared, but lines were not crossed. What's different now is the scale and openness of confrontation. Airstrikes have become more public. Retaliation is faster. Political rhetoric is sharper. Each side believes deterrence requires strength, not restraint. And that creates a dangerous cycle. When one side strikes to restore deterrence, the other must respond to maintain credibility. Every move is framed as defensive, but each response raises the stakes. Another major factor is the role of proxies. Hezbollah possesses one of the largest non-state arsenals in the world, capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. If conflict expands on the northern front, Israel would face a multi-front scenario, something it has long tried to avoid. Meanwhile, Iranian-aligned groups in Iraq and Syria have shown they can target U.S. interests. This means escalation doesn't remain bilateral. It multiplies, it spreads. And once multiple actors are involved, control becomes harder. Then there's the United States. Washington has historically backed Israel's security while also attempting to prevent full-scale regional war. But America is also navigating domestic political pressures and global strategic competition. Any direct U.S. involvement would change the calculus dramatically. Iran knows this. Israel knows this. And regional players like Saudi Arabia and the UAE know this. That's why Gulf states are walking a tightrope, publicly condemning instability, quietly preparing for worst-case scenarios, and hoping escalation doesn't spill into shipping lanes or oil infrastructure. And that brings us to economics. The Middle East is not just a battlefield, it is the heart of global energy routes. If conflict threatens shipping corridors or oil production facilities, the impact would ripple worldwide. Energy prices would surge, inflation could rise again, markets would react instantly. That economic pressure can sometimes act as a brake on war, but it can also intensify political calculations. Leaders may feel they cannot appear weak under pressure, so is war inevitable? There are reasons to believe escalation could continue. Public opinion in both countries has hardened. Political leadership on each side faces internal pressure to appear strong. Military assets are already positioned. Retaliation cycles are shortening, and history shows that prolonged hostility increases the risk of miscalculation. But there are also reasons to believe a full regional war is not predetermined. Neither Iran nor Israel benefits from total destruction. Both understand the catastrophic cost of all-out confrontation. Diplomatic channels, even indirect ones, still exist. Global powers have strong incentives to prevent wider conflict, and historically, even intense flare-ups in this rivalry have eventually been contained. The reality is this: inevitability is not about destiny, it's about momentum. And right now, momentum is dangerous but not irreversible. Whether this becomes a regional war depends less on ideology and more on decision-making in moments of crisis. A single strike misinterpreted, a civilian casualty that shifts public anger, a proxy action that triggers automatic retaliation. These are the variables that matter. The Middle East stands at a crossroads. One path leads to prolonged escalation across multiple fronts. The other leads to uneasy deterrence and back-channel diplomacy. Neither side trusts the other. Both claim defensive intentions. The world watches, aware that the consequences would stretch far beyond the region. So is a regional war inevitable? Not yet, but the window to prevent it is narrowing. And in geopolitics, wars often begin not because they are planned, but because they become harder and harder to avoid. Now the question becomes, who blinks first?